Right, it works. Hey guys, what's up? This is Franzyzz. This is my 4v4 handbook, which I've just written down recently, and that's how 4v4 should be played in my opinion. Or let's say if you follow most of these rules, you will perform generally really well in most of your games. You're gonna win most of your games if you follow these steps. I've written down point 1 to point 7, and that's also the importance of each point. So number 1 is the most important for me, at least. Number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is number 7 is the least important. So starting off with point 1 is macro, and especially gold macro. When even in my games, I realize the gold macro is always failing every game of my team. Gold macro is like super essential. You need to keep in mind, if you have an expo, it's not your gold, it's not your resource. In the end, it's always 4v4. I've learned that in Counter-Strike that economy is not your own economy. It's always your team economies. So if someone, compared to Counter-Strike, if you play Counter-Strike, you know, if someone has 10k and the rest of team has like 3k, this guy is gonna buy 2 weapons for his teammates, so the rest of his team can buy utility like grenades and stuff. And that's very similar to Warcraft 3. If someone has an expo and is low upkeep, he's getting basically 200 and 2.2 2k 1k 200 gold per minute, which is a lot. Just twice the amount of one expo, of course, but if he breaks upkeep, he's losing so much gold per minute, like 360 gold. Imagine you're playing Warcraft 3 and you receive 360 gold from your ally every minute. You have no expo, you know that feeling. If you have no expo, you receive so much gold every minute, it's amazing. But that's just what the other player is losing because he's breaking up. If he's breaking upkeep. So let's start. Most people, of course, know the basics. If you are 50 supply, you're still not paying taxes, no upkeep. But once you're breaking 50 supply, you receive 7 gold per mine instead of 10 gold. This means that's a 30% correction of your gold income. It's called upkeep. And then, which is the most extreme, above 80 supply, you receive super little gold. You only get 4 gold per mine per second, which makes it even. Let's say if you have an expo and you go into high upkeep, you will receive only 8 gold per second instead of 10 gold or 20 gold with both expos. It means that the player who has no expo and is in no upkeep receives more gold than a player with expo and in high upkeep. In fact, even 25% more. Alright. So you should keep in mind that you should have the numbers in mind, it's not that important. You should just have a rough understanding how much gold you get per minute and stuff. And let's say you have 9 workers in general and you have 2 gold mines and you have 50 supply. Just by reading the numbers here, you know you should not make a 10th worker for the second expo, meaning both expos would be fully saturated, and break into upkeep for it, because you would lose more gold than you get just for breaking into upkeep. That makes sense. Alright. That's where the most important thing comes into place, which is for me rule number 1 of rule number 1 to sharing resources, gold. When you reach 50 supply before breaking upkeep and paying taxes, you should always check your teammates' resources exactly, especially those with no expo, and if they are hovering around 40 supply, it's always a good indicator they need gold. Especially if you see they have like 200 or 300 gold, which means they're using their gold at least somewhat efficient, depending on the macro or micro. And no matter what MMR they are, I am with highest MMR feeding people way beyond my MMR the gold, because for me it makes so much sense to share my gold than for me to have the ego to push into 80 and then we lose the game because I was too stubborn to share my gold and I will blame everyone else. So it's super important I will stay on 50 as long as possible when I have an expo. On some maps you have only one expo, and sometimes that's me who has the only expo. You know what I'm doing? I'm staying 50 supply until everyone else in my team is upkeep. Only then I will bank for myself and break upkeep. That's how you should play 4v4. There's a map called Dark Beacons, where sometimes on the left hand side there's a 1v1, on the right hand side there's a 3v3 or Blood Venom. I'm not sure right now what the map name. And most of the time there's only one expo per team. And if I'm having the expo, I will share the gold, ship the gold to your teammates until they upkeep. It's super important. You don't want to be that guy who pays 360 gold per minute taxes and your teammates can use it tax free. I mean, everyone who has an income, a job, knows you don't want to pay taxes at all costs. You want to work as efficient as you can. Meaning, if you can give the money to your family and be tax free, you would not do it. But I hope you understand my point. If it's only a short amount of time, yeah. Let's read chat. Spawn locations, yeah. This will be my next point. I think shop position is important. You place yours at really good spots, predicting where most fights are. Yeah, that's true. You want to make the shop close to the expo if you're planning to expand, and also in between you and your ally most of the times. And sometimes I even make the shop on the other side as well if there's no orc. You should also keep in mind when you are playing with human and you're playing orc, just a little detail of what I've noticed. So human and undead, they both have their own kind of item to regen HP, but the orc has voodoo launch with healing salves. There's 3 stocks of healing salves, and healing salves heals more HP than Scroll of Regen from the human, way more and way faster. So it's more efficient if you have a low HP Archmage or something and you use the shop of the orc to heal yourself instead of your own shop, because you heal much more HP. But it's single point target healing, so it's super efficient to use the orc healing. Yeah, this is really, write it down, this is the most important rule of 4v4. You should check your teammates' resources. Let's say if they are on 40 or 45 supply and they have already 1.4k gold, you should not share the gold. Also, you should not share gold to players with an expo most of the time, because they have so fast income, they don't need it. If you have an expo, you don't need the gold of your teammate most of the time unless you got super harassed in the early game and you have lost like every unit. But generally, if you have an expo, you don't need the gold from your teammates, but the players with the expo should share the fucking gold to everyone else with no expo if they are low on gold before breaking into upkeep. A little tip advice I can give you. In the super late game, there's oftentimes case that many people are DPing back and forth and stuff, and there's always someone write it down here. gold for TP. Before I send gold to someone who writes gold for TP, unless it's super stressful, I always check his. No, I will not check his. I check his hero positioning. If I have expo and lots of gold, I will buy the TP for him and even Invobot and heal scroll. So I'm buying a 325 gold item for him. I will buy maybe 2 heal scrolls if I have the gold, and then even an Invobot, which makes, sum it up, which is it, 500, 650, 950, 900. This makes 975 gold. And let's calculate how much, if most of the time the players who asked this are in upkeep. In mind, when you are in upkeep and you receive gold, let's say you receive 1000 gold when you are a player in upkeep and you receive 1k gold, you will not get 1k gold, but you will get 700 because you get taxed by the government of Warcraft 3. You will only get 700 gold. You are in upkeep. It's not the best English, but so what I do instead is, if I'm the player with gold and I see that this guy is an upkeep or something, I will just go and buy everything for him. I will buy everything for him because I don't want to pay taxes, and if I buy the items directly for him, it will not get taxed. There's no taxes. That's the best part about it. And yeah, I wrote it down here. Should avoid giving gold to players in upkeep if they need gold for a TP. Rather buy it for them, because you can still buy items tax free. Exactly. And that's something I just realized a few years into Warcraft 3. It's a little how to say, walk around taxes. Alright, let's keep going to the next point. And yeah, wood, you can always share wood. There's no taxes on wood, no fees. Wood is also very important for some races who expand. If you have no expansion and you see someone expanding, most of the time they need the wood in the early game. Righty. Funnily enough, I've only wrote down so much on macro because for me it's so important, but not on the other parts. Alright, let's continue with point number 2. I want to show you replay of one of my games. I was playing and I want to show you something. I will share my screen in a second. Positioning is super important. Oh, shit, this was the wrong replay. On this map there's no bad position anyway. Alright, let's wait a minute. Oh, hey Dot, good morning. Good morning, old mate dad. Whatever time it is for you in New Zealand. Probably it's always midnight when I'm chatting with you. As Joe. And also, if you... yeah, I forgot something super important. I have to add it to my notes, which is super important. Also, I just realized like a few months ago about macro. If you are orc, you can always go for raiders. Advice, raiders, village. You get more gold if you attack expensive buildings. So you will get twice the money if you attack main or something than you would attacking a farm or something. And you also get more gold. Of course, the more damage you do, that means 2-0 raiders are nice. You get more gold. If you have 2-0 raiders with attack upgrade, you get even more. It's like you can even lose all raiders in the bush and still get back to 50 supply if you have attacked a main or something for like 30 seconds straight. But if you break upkeep with raiders, you will receive less gold for village. That's why it's important to stay 50 supply. It's very similar to having an expo. You should stay 50 supply, share gold to your team, unless everyone else is of course above 50. If everyone else is above 50, you should bank for yourself and then break into 80 or something, as beds or something. What you don't want to do is switch units late game. It's just too late. You cannot get Doran or something in time. Like I've seen some players switching late game from raiders into something else, but usually when there's a raider guy, like let's say I'm laming with raiders, I can only do it for a certain amount of time, like for after I'm attacking with raiders, I can only do it for like 10 minutes until it's useless. And when it's useless, there's no time for me, or there was no time for me to switch to Dorans or something, because there will always be a final fight. And the final fight is usually before your high tier units arrive. So what you want to do what you want to do instead is going for Wyvern or bats or something, depending on what units you need. Maybe Kodo Beasts, something like this. Makes way more sense than switching from raiders to something else. Or let's see, from Bestiary deck to some Lodge deck or Totem deck. You don't have the time for it most of the time. Alright, let's go back to the replay, but I have to download it first. I have to find it first. Give me 10 seconds, I will find it. Here we go, found it. Perfect. Perfect. It was a key example. I'm losing every second game in random team because my team is committing to super horrible positions, which are super unnecessary. And by the way, I played with S. Joe, who's actually super experienced in team games, playing StarCraft 2. He played Warcraft 3 back then, but still he didn't know that you should share gold before breaking into 50 supply. Let's speed it up. Just because it goes hand in hand with rule number 1 I've just written down. So he's on 50 supply, he's banking, which is nice, but I'm his teammate next to him. I'm 37, which is usually the case if you're one base. So I could use any gold I'm getting. He's banking so much gold and he didn't share it. It was super unfortunate. I could use it super well, I think. Right? But it's not about the gold this game. By the way, now he's breaking upkeep. Paying taxes, 360 gold, as we have learned earlier. He's losing 360 gold every minute instead of sharing it. I could use it pretty well. Alright, let's go to the part why we are watching this replay. Positioning. So eventually there was a time when our enemies just didn't want to fight and there was a base race going on. This very often in 4v4. I was TPing out. Alright, retreat. The opponents are retreating and this is like the choke area here. We have to hold. So I'm ended. I'm arriving to the party, and this is what happened. My teammates just committed into this position, horrible position. They have a beautiful, huge half circle around this. They can always retreat, but what happens if the knight is low HP? Can it retreat? No, because it gets blocked by our whole army. So I had the control of them. I pulled everyone back. You can see I pulled them all back. I pulled them back, pulled them back, pulled them back, pulled them back. You want to stay here. That's the positioning you want to have, because as you can see we have smaller army than them, slightly smaller, and also no giants and stuff. So we want to stay around here. Downside is that most of the knights are almost dead already, because they have just committed too hard for. Look how much HP they have. They can 0 damage for this. So what you want to do is you want to stay behind this line, I would say. You don't want to step over, but you also don't want to be too far away, because if you are too far away, you allow them to get in too easily. For them, the point they should not step over is around here, I think. Like, it's also a half circle. Depending on if you see this as a whole circle, this area, you don't want to step into the circle. Just if you put a circle over this, I think I cannot do it. I'm too bad of an editor right now to do this, but don't see this as a square, see it as a circle. You don't want to step into the circle, because everything that steps into, let's say you are in the club and this is the dancing area. Everyone who's dancing is getting watched by all the people around. That's why you don't want to dance, because you get booed, you get exposed for your poor dancing skills, and that's also very similar. If there's a choke area, you don't want to be dancing inside it, because this TC will get nuked and stuff. Let's see. Yeah, exactly what happened. He wanted to dance, but he's not feeling good to dance anymore. And now the knights are wanting to dance, but they get roasted. And now we simply cannot hold anymore, I think, because the positioning is just too garbage. We are just way too deep for the unit deficit. We cannot make it up anymore. The only way we could make up the unit deficit is if we have a nice position. Nice position meaning staying behind around where the archmage is. Our armies are around here. One player here, one player here, one player here, one player here. Little tight, but enough space for us to hold this area. You don't want to allow anything to breach it. If someone is stepping over, you fucking nuke the hell out of it, because he cannot retreat anymore. And now we just lost the game because my teammates overcommitted into this area and lost all HP and momentum we could have ever had. Right. That's it. Right positioning. I'm back. I'm replying to comments after, I think. Next up, we have units with a good synergy with your ally. If you are orc, you don't want to. It depends. On certain maps, this also depends. How to say, units which have good synergy with your ally. You have to view every 4v4 as 2 separate 2v2s on each side, and there's also one safe spawn and one aggressive spawn. If you have an aggressive spawn, you sometimes play different units than if you have a safe spawn and can expand. Usually with safe spawn you expand, and other resources, of course. So let's jump to point number 3. I think I've written down something here. Alright. Units which have good synergy with your ally. The best combination, of course, is Orc Human at 4v4, but slightly behind is already Elf Undead, which can hold most Orc Human bushes pretty well. So that's the ranking, I would say. And I mean, the first two, Orc Human is the strongest combo, next is Elf Undead, and then behind we have, they're all on the same level, I think. Double Human can be strong against Human Undead, maybe Human Undead a little bit stronger, but doesn't matter. It depends on the players most of the time here. So Orc Human is super strong, you should know what you can play against Orc Human and also what you have to play with Orc Human. Usually Orc Human has a great Orc is lacking mana most of the time in 1v1, and Human is not lacking mana, so, and Orc has a nice heal and Human has like Paladin on tier 3 and Priests, but not super nice heal, so it makes sense to get to sustain, healing, sustain and mana sustain, meaning Orc Human has a great army composition. And also you get casters many times with Orc, but Orc Human is just excellent. Which unit should you get as Orc? Which unit should you get as Human? Sometimes with Human you should go Breaker Charros with Orc, sometimes it's Knights Charros, sometimes it's just Knights and Breakers, Priests, Round Army. You should adapt. When I'm playing Human, I scan my opponent's bases if I'm playing against Dreadlord Garg or something. I will not get my base lamed against Gargs, then it means I'm going for triple workshop. Last time I played against a very strong Undead, and before I decided if I go for if they go Dreadlord or something, most of the times they either go it's just a side note, but A, it's Dale Gargs, or B, it's Dale Necros. That's like 99% of the case. And if you're Human, you don't want to go mass Charros against Necros, obviously, and you don't want to go mass Griffins against mass Gargs or something, or Breakers or Knights or Casters. That means against this, I love to go for Charros against Gargs. The downfall with tanks is you just get lamed. You cannot reply to 20 Gargs sieging your peasant line. If you TP, you're stuck in your base, and the Dreadlord guy just runs to the next base. You cannot catch up. That's why it's important to play against Gargs. You have to keep in mind you need mass Charros or something, or against Hyperoiders or something. And against Necros, you need. I love to make Griffins. You don't need Griffins. You can also go for caster, but against Necros, I really enjoy Griffins as Human, and that's. I've scanned tier 2 and I've seen he's going for Necros. I went for mass Griffins, and it was basically over already based on the production building we have made. And if you're one of these combinations here, down here, with your ally, against Orc Human, it's super hard to break early. It's almost impossible if they are not making any severe mistake that you will beat Orc Human in the early game. Most of the times it's a dragged out fight into the late game, and you can, even with a big MMR gap, you can oftentimes not break Orc Human that easily. Against Elf Undead, laming is kinda strong, I would say, because it's very hard to make a decent army against giants and destroyers. So you want to be as annoying as you can against the Night Elf Expo and against the Undead Goldmine, in this case, I would say. But you should generally study or watch replays of many people, IMR people, how they will play specific combinations. And even I myself, I'm struggling to still find a good build with Elf because it's not very easy. You get overrun by most combinations super early, which makes it very hard to hold. But I've noticed with Orc Elf, you need, most of the time, all you need is many Wisps in the early game and mass detonates. If you're a Night Elf player, keep in mind you get many wisps and you can hold most bushes pretty nicely. It's very expensive, but you should do it. When I'm playing Orc and I'm playing with Undead, it's really nice to go for Raiders actually, because you have a nice lockdown with Undead Focus Fire, with Orb of Corruption, and meaning basically it's always either a hero kill or a TP out. On the other hand, if you go for Shamans with Undead, which have nice synergy as well, but the thing with if you go Shamans with Undead, the only dispel you have is Destroyers. And if you go Raiders with Undead, the only dispel you also have is Destroyers. But Destroyers get countered by Gyros, they get countered by Wyvern, they get countered by Bats, pretty much. Not so much by Ground Unit though. So if you're going Raiders with Undead, you can always switch to Mass Bats in case you need them against Gyros, Bats, Wyvern. So you need to get a counter to the counter in a certain time for the Undead. Because Undead is a super nice dispel. Generally speaking, I think Human has the best dispel because Villains Aura guarantees full mana Spellbreakers. And Spellbreakers, they have 4-second cooldown to heal, to steal magic. And that's just super nice. And you don't have, there's also no room for misclicks or something. There's just stealing it. With Destroyers, there are 5 supply and they get just destroyed by 2 Bats or Mass Gyros, and they're basically out of the fight. If there's 20 Gyros ganging up on Daisies, the Undeads just retreat them all the way back, and then you have no dispel left. On the other hand, if you have 10 Spellbreakers in the front, they will not die that easily. You don't want to have them super far front as Spell Shield either, but because against many units like Knights, they will get roasted really hard. So they should be in the front line, but not in the super front line. If you know what I mean. And the good thing with Breakers and Giants is, which makes them the best melee units, is they have super strong resilience. They will not get killed by chimps, they will not get killed by griffins, they will not get killed by worms or destroyers with magic, with mana, and which makes them a super nice dispel unit. For me, the best unit dispel is Spellbreakers. Alright, you should always watch the race your ally is having, and then you decide what units you should go. If you just go for double TK Fiends, double Undead, you can almost already leave the game, because there's no point in playing on. You will most likely face 2 expos when you're playing double TK Fiends, because it's so slow and the opponent will overrun you when you are level 2. And when you're level 2 against the level 3 keeper who's entangling all your fiends, you have to TP out because he has full mana. You will kill 2 or 3 fiends, and then the game is basically over already for you if you're playing double Undead with double fiends. Just for example. Double Elf, I have noticed as playing random that there is a nice way to play double Elf. One is going for keeper, one is going for Banda, and one elf is going for chimps and something, and the other is going for hippos and mastodons with the crow form. And in addition, with Banda and Dinka, this can make a nice anti-air battle. So you can do really well with mass air with double elf, but of course I don't recommend it against good combos most of the time. Like I would not suggest going mass air most of the times against double human, but if you're catching double human off guard and one is going for ground army and only one is going for Charos, usually, I mean, one human going for mass Charos will counter two armies, but Yeah, that's when rule number 7 comes in place with MMR gap. What can you pull off and what can you not pull off against certain MMR. So let's continue. The next super important point. Knowing the map and the meta on it. Alright. How many laps does the map have shredder and something? Share the screen. Alright, here we go. So there's soft vetoes on W3 champions right now, meaning you have to play every map occasionally, but more maps are just more likely than the others because many pump downs you get vetoes and some others are not vetoed. So you should have a general knowledge how to play most of these maps. Like, let's start with the first one, which is not a great example, but there are some great example maps which are, how should I say it? Let's jump to the certain maps which are meaning, like this map. There are 3 players on one side, 3 players on the other side, and usually it's a 3v3 in the early game or a 2v2 in the early game, and there's already a battle for the shredder here. The right hand side you have only one shredder possibility, which is this guy, and you don't want to give it away for free because Expo plus shredder guarantees a super strong mid and late game army by your opponent. Left hand side you have 2 Goblin labs, meaning there's also shredder possibility. On this map it's hard to tell, should you always go for the 3v3 in the early game and push the side and win this Goblin lab, or should the player inside go for an Expo himself and then join here? Recently I think I prefer that this guy is going for an Expo himself as well, and then is joining the 3v3 later on. So you have, if you're facing one Expo, you have double Expo at least and can win in the late game most of the times. On the other hand, with this guy here, MMR difference makes a huge role here. If this player is weak and this player is super strong in solo, he will get crushed. Because left hand side, you have to cut this map off here. You cut it off here, it's a 1v1. And if you're the player here, you want to play a strategy which certainly kills this guy. You only tunnel vision this guy, you want to make an army which kills this guy as fast as possible. This is your main objective. And that's what I mean with knowing the maps. You have to know the maps. I mean, it's common knowledge for most players. If they spawn on this side, they want to make a certain army, but you need to adapt to your opponent, play the right units in order to overrun your side as fast as possible. Right, let's jump to the next maps. And this map is really nice, I think. You need to keep in mind there's 4 Fountain of Health and Fountain of Mana in the middle. Fountain of Mana is not that important in the early game, but in the super late game it can be super nice. But generally speaking, there's not much detail going in here. Nice balanced map, I think. Ferocity the same. This is, you should know, this is a really nice map for mass air, usually. Gyros, bats, something you generally, unless you can really comfortably push your side 2v2 with ground army. Also ground army can work, but most of the times it's just mass air. You should know it. Golems in the Mist, great map for raiders, I think, and bats. Bats not so much, but raiders definitely. Because you cannot expand as orc, you either have 2 options. You have 3 options as orc. Option 1 going standard Farseer Headhunters. Option 2 fast stacking Playmaster or Farseer. Going raiders or even going tier 3 fast with shamans and stuff. Option 3 is expanding, which on this map does not work. really much. Unless you have inside spawn, you can expo here. But there's no fast expo really with Orc, because there's a golem here and he instant bolts you. Meaning it's super diamond dense to creep this. You cannot get a fast expo. You can get an expo, but no fast expo. You can creep it with 3 or 4 hunters. But once, I guarantee you, once you start creeping this and you are facing human, which is over here, he's already arriving you, watching you, starting this camp, and good night for you. You cannot expand. You cannot expand as Orc. That's why I love to play Raiders on this map. Be aggressive in the early game. As human, you can expo on the islands inside with Blood Mage, but Blood Mage is a downfall in the late game. I would say it's not the best team synergy hero most of the times, in my opinion. Not like obviously Archmage. Sometimes I think it's good for human as well to take this expo, just to have Brilliance Aura in the late game. But as Orc, you are pretty much handicapped. You cannot expand. If you spawn here or here, you have to kind of almost always go for Raiders or something, unless you have a human combo. You could play standard as well, or another spot. Undead. What should Undead do? There's a build I like to play with when I'm Undead on this map. It's shift clicking the trees, attacking trees, shift attacking trees. Ideally you want to attack 4 trees. In a row. Let's just show it, we have time. We have lots of time. Today we have lots of time. Right, here we go. Live production, everybody. It's Undead. If you see this tree, it's really hard to enter this with chopping only 3 or 4 trees. It's almost impossible. So you have to watch this side. And here you have to cut. If you cut a straight line, you will always get in. So it's like attacking. So you either attack the tree. There's also a trick to fast attack trees. If you can harvest lumber and then attack on the afterwards. So you attack the tree and then you shift attack. Oh. And then you are in like 2 minutes. The build you want to have with this is like going for altar, going for crypt, going for Ziggurat. Acolyte of course before the Ziggurat, but doesn't matter now. And then the shop of course, but instead of the second Ziggurat, which you cannot afford, you need to get a Necropolis. You can place it around here, so you have even more light. And you can see the ghoul is almost in already. Keep in mind that the ghoul is twice as fast as a standard peasant or peon would be, because he is having a wood return rate of 2 wood per hit, meaning he's also doing twice the damage, I think. Oh, never mind. I'm silly. The ghoul has a higher attack rate than a standard worker on trees. That's why it depends on how much you quote unquote attack a tree, because every tree has hit points as well. I think it's 400 or 500 hit points. I'm not sure though, but a ghoul is definitely faster than a standard peon or a worker. So if your DK is out, I messed it up a little bit, the build, but you want to have a shop as well very soon. And you're almost in when your hero comes out, and you can expand this under as well. What I like to do though in this map is I will send the ghoul later. I will start tier 2 first, then I will chop the tree free, and once I'm on tier 2, I will tier 2 expand most of the times on this spot. I mean, it's just my philosophy of how to play Undead on this spawn. But if you are with Orc or something, you want to do this. If you are with Human or Night Elf, you don't have to do it. Alright, that's it. If you're Orc, I love to play Farsi Raiders and harass this base. I want to delay this creeping as long as possible, but also delay this expo. As Orc, you're sometimes forced to delay expos. It's your main objective in the early game. Later on, you can go for Raiders and stuff. Raiders are equal to an expo for me. It's played well. Right, let's keep going. Next point. I'm sorry, I didn't finish it yet. There's still some important maps I don't want to overlook. Maps. Monopoly, very important on this map to get the 2 spiders here because they summon. They're summoning skeletons. Small advice I want to give: if you creep the spiders, there's a critter, a sheep or something around at the start. Don't kill the sheep. Don't kill the sheep because the spiders just will make skeletons and it takes longer for you to creep it. Just a small advice. And also you want to kill the spiders as fast as possible because sometimes against some orcs they will go for Blade Master outside spawn or inside spawn, doesn't matter, it's the same distance. Blade Master, fast chop, speed scroll harass and steal the spider. And then it's super frustrating if you creep this and your spiders is getting steal because you kill the minions first. Very important to kill the spiders first and also pick the spiders up very fast. Alright, that's it. And also at some point the Shredder is super hard to get on this map because it's very far away from the standard route, so you have to get many workers. Sometimes not exploring is also how you play this map. I mean, there's many ways to play some. It always comes down to certain player styles, but also there's a Knoll Watcher here or here. You want to get this guy against Keeper at level 3 Entangle. It's really nice. It basically is countering level 3 hero, and of course you want to get it. Alright, jumping to the next map. Nether Dragon available on the 2nd day, keep that in mind, or on the 3rd day, I think, on the 3rd day. By the way, there's also Shredder available every time at 11 PM. So you can write it down, it's always the same. And not so much to talk about this map, it's just not a special map. On this map, most of the times mass air against mass air, also lame against lame. There are 2 golem camps here, which get crapped, but I think it's not worth it. Actually, I never creep these camps because so time intense to creep these guys. What's super important on this map is there's only 1 goblin lab here, and meaning only 1. I like to call it wood expansion. And what the Shredder basically is a wood expo. So you want to make sure, check the time, 11 PM, and you want to have some unit there. You can buy Shredder here with 1 unit. You don't have to pull it or something, you can just send a unit in, buy it, and then escape. Meta on this map is everyone expanding. If you're Orc, either expanding or Blade Master Bats, or Farseer, Harris, and something. With Speed Scroll, you want to A, expand, or B, delay expansion on this map. Because it's so super long distance. If you're sitting on the expo, they're like around here something, and going for the counter push is way too time intense, so they prefer to turn around and defend it. Oops. Here's a creep camp, red spot. The Renegade Wizard But a renegade, not no wizard, but a renegade has the item Danny Great Hall, which is super nice. You want to get it also at some point. You don't want the enemies to get it for free, basically. Right, let's go to the next map. Northshire, best map for exploring. Every player has his own individual shredder. And I think claiming on this map is not good. Because, yeah, it's not good just for me. I mean, you can attack every base pretty simply. Against low MR, you can pull it off, of course. Against high MR, it's not good. In my opinion. Because Expo is super easy to creep. And also on this map, I want to show something. There's a level 3 creep route. Item. Start it again. Alright, sure. You can basically ignore this green spot. It delays you too much. What you want to do as Orc is you just go straight Expo. Pull the Expo, of course. I can show the trick as well in another video, but now this is all about 4v4. You creep the Expo, creep the lab, and then this green spot, and you're good to go. You don't need this green spot here because it's just too far away. You want to skip this one entirely. You should start with the Expo always, I think, not with the lab. Always with the Expo, so your Expo is faster. Then with the lab, and then with this, so it's a perfect order. You have the shortest runway here, here, and here, and then a shop somewhere around here, and you're good to go. Good to go for attack with your teammates, which is here. You spawn here, you start creeping with the Expo. Continue creeping the lab, creeping this, you're level 3, then you push. You're gonna go here, check if the opponent is here. If they're not, you will continue running in, running in, running in. Here you have the option of going for the base or going for the Expo straight. I think both are very viable and nice options. Both are possible. But most of the times, if you are here, you don't see an opponent here. The opponent's already messed up. They're creeping this or either creeping this, meaning you are level 3 and they're level 3.2 or something. Just for the green spot, but you have the momentum in your hands and you have the push in your hands and you can delay them very, very, very strong. That's it on this map. And the rushing distance is also super far. Alright. Back to my maps. Expoing with array race is essential, I think, on this map. Not much to say on this map. I don't like it that much. Just note that the expo is super hard to creep, meaning laming is super efficient here, because you can delay, like Farsi or Playmaster laming is very nice because you, on top of having a super hard expo in front of you, the opponent also gets a super hard or annoying harass on top of it. So you as Orc you want to harass on this map most of the times. Or either creep level 3 with Blademaster or something. Mirror image. Portal Roulette. Let me think. Yeah, not much to say about this map as well. There's a Shredder inside, but you have the bullet, I think. And it's super far away. Rocky Ridge. Not much to say about this either. Royal Gardens, not much to say. Sanctuary, inside spawn. Sometimes nice to harass inside with Blademaster or something. Really nice Blademaster bats map. Inside spawn, I think. Against many Night Elf and Undead, it's super nice. Not so nice against human and Orc. Not much to say about this map either. Twilight Ruin. Also level 3 creep route, Expo, Green into the Merc here, it's level 3. Don't want to waste time in the early game on these green spots here unless you're outside spawn, but if you're inside spawn you creep the Expo, creep this green camp and then the mercenary, and you will pick up the 190 gold unit which provides Birch, also nice. Then you are good to go pushing this Expo or this Expo or this Expo. Nice creep route. This is by far the best map I think. In the pool only since a few seasons. It was not here from the start, but I think season 3 or 4. It's a map made from Kaer, Kaer. I even gave him feedback. He asked me for feedback while he was creating it, and I told him he should make sure that even as an adult player you can expand. What many elves still don't know is you can place an Ancient of War on each expo. They prefer to creep the Goblin Lepic because they think it will get cancelled. It will not. You can Ancient of War creep it very easily. Here we go. And in the mid or late game, there's the Fountain of Power. It's unique. It's only on this map, Fountain of Power. It regens mana and healing. Meaning super long sustain. Super sick map. You want to, if you have a worse army than your opponent, you can still make it up if you are camping this fountain. Winterly Magic, there's Rebirth creep here and here. It's a big blue drake. There's no shredder on this map, so you need to get a good gold economy, a wood economy. There's 2 Fountain of Healths, you want to use them as well. Yeah, not much to say about this map either. It's an interesting map. It's not that long in the pool. It's only in the pool since 1 season, and that's why it still needs time to evolve. The meta needs to be evolved on this map, I think. This expo is easy to grip. This expo is easy to grip, but more exposed. This one is more exposed, but easier. This expo is super hard. It has level 6 Forest Troll, Frost Shield, Frost Armor. Very hard to grip the outside expos. Very easy to grip the inside expos. An interesting map, I would say. But the Blue Drake in the late game can be super strong. Winter Township. There's a shredder available here, and here. You always, when you play a game, you always want to check where are the shredders. There are red spots here, but they never get crept because it's just too hard. There's also red spots in the back here. You want to avoid to creep them either because you're just wasting time most of the time. They are so far in the back. If you run all the way here, you could also attack an expo in the meantime. And be aggressive, be in the map. The last map, so I want to point out something super important. You don't want to creep the entire game. I see most undeads are doing it when they have level 3 or something. They continue creeping, or if there's a bunda, they continue creeping. Unless you're super efficient at the top MMR player, you should not power creep your hero to level 4 unless you have Ancient of War in position and stuff, which guarantees level 4 super fast. Like some players are good with it, but as undead and stuff, you don't want to creep the whole game. There's some undeads who creep. The upside is you have a super strong focus fire. The downside is all time wasted in creeping. The opponents will kick all your expansions in the meantime, and it's almost impossible that you have equal expansion number and army size and everything, while getting the red spot as well. Almost impossible. So you don't want to creep all game. It's really bad, I think. You need to be aggressive even as undead and something and go for the echo arrows. You can even lame as undead. You can run around with the unholy arrows. You're super fast. Don't creep the entire game. That's what the last thing I want to mention before we skip to the next part. Next part will be having a general knowledge of 2v2. And that's super important. That many players, before 4v4 was popular, many players were playing 2v2. And this actually comes hand in hand with point number 3. Units which have good synergy with your ally. And this actually is the same. I can carry it out. But I've written it down because every 4v4 is a 2v2 on your side. So you should know what's working against undead elf in 2v2. It's mass air. Mass air usually works against undead elf. Against human elf, Wyvern can work as well. That's something you should always mix it up. It's always different depending on your allies race and your opponent's races. This is the most important thing. Knowing the strength and weakness of your race is the next part. If you are human, you should always keep in mind you can go for mass gyros and mass breakers. You should not lose magic war if you're human, and you should also not lose air fight with human. On the other hand, as orc, you want to make sure you have healing wards in the super late game. Because healing wards heal 2% per HP per second, which makes it double twice as strong as a Fountain of Health. So a healing ward is twice as strong as a Fountain of Health. This is sick. As undead, you have super nice nuke focus fire with Orb of Corruption. You should use a focus fire. You should not A-click, but you rather want to focus fire and shift. And as another Fear of Giants or mass gyms, you can always mix it up. Depending if you are playing, depending as well on your allies races. If your ally is human, you can go for mass gyms. If your ally is an elf and going for hippo riders and stuff and talents, you can go for mass gyms as well. But with orc, usually you go for giants, keeper giants, with undead keeper giants as well. Like most of the time, you depends of course how safe your game is. If you feel like you can go for gyms, and there's also not enough anti-air by your opponent, go for it. If you have time for gyms and there's not enough anti-air, go for gyms. Downside with orc is, yeah, they need longest to creep level 3. That's why if you creep level 3, you should keep in mind if you finish creeping, your opponent is in your face already if they are efficient as well. The expo can get cancelled super easily. That's why you need to expand first spot with expo, not second or third. Orc has best casters, has raiders with pillage, which makes up for an expo. The weakness is the casters suck against breakers. And disciplining sucks. You cannot make display with orc because spirit walkers are just, unless you have again human, which gives you mana sustain, but usually don't want to get walkers in 4v4, usually not. Wyvern sucks the late game most of the times because it's just too fragile against high level heroes, usually. Night Elf weakness is hard time against early harass, against the Blade Master Bats harass, it's very hard to play against for Night Elf, meaning if you're orc you want to exploit. Playing against many Night Elves you want to go for a juicy lame, I would say. Ah yeah, that's the last point. I've written down here, you're orc human against human elf. This was especially a game I was playing with Mokba. I was a human, he was elf. I went for Mass Charos, he went for Mass Gyms, which should not work. And this is, by the way, point number 7, LMR Gip. Charos Gyms, super strong combo, always works unless you're facing Orc human, because Orc can get bats, it kills all your Charos, or not all, but it weakens your Charos, and then the human Charos of the opponent can kill everything off pretty easily. But we pulled it off super nicely because the MMR gap, the micro and stuff, we killed them completely, even though it should not work on paper, but it worked. This was on full scale assault on top of it, so it was a full air map, and we pulled it off. Some things you can pull off even though the markup is big. That's what I was meaning with a markup. Alright, that's it. That's all points. Just written down. This took 1 hour and 10 minutes. I say thank you for staying, listening, and the chance is quite high I've overlooked or forgot something, so apologize for missing anything or something. So let's go to the comments. Alright, let's read comments. I cannot read out every comment because it's personal. Again, it's mentioning lots of personal plays. Maybe you should play the clip for the main self-friends and you. Yeah, of course you can ask a question always. Custom Classic is 51 with level 1 fuzzy. Yeah, if you have first of all 51 supplies, you should avoid 51 supply. And especially if you have pillage and raiders, you should never get 51 supply because you're also paying taxes on raiders, so should play 1 base. 50 supply with raiders. Not 1 base, but 50 supply and raiders. This on the top right is no pixel mistake on my Word document. It's just writing a name down there, and I don't want to read the name of this email up there. You should avoid that your email gets leaked on the internet. That's why I'm logged in the Word, and this on the top right here is not some mistake, but intentional. A lot of games have lots of gold but no wood, the other way around. Make sure if you have an expo you get enough peasants on your wood as well. Very important. Or you get a shredder. Get a shredder. I recommend getting a shredder most of the time. It's available at 11 PM and you should always get it if you can. And also if you have lots of gold, share it to your teammate if they have no expo. Optimal woodworkers, no, you need to, it depends. If you're human, you need to get the lumber upgrade. If you're undead, many ghouls. As orc, you need to get lots of peons. As orc, I like to expand, and if there's no shredder, I will send no peons over, but once the expo is done, I want to make 4 peons fresh. And also plenty more on tier 2, so I'm making sure I have enough wood for the late game. Shop is ready after first Grim Camp, but yeah, this is cool, taking notes, yeah, this is nice. Mindframe, I'm good, thank you, how are you? Do you think Undead is forced to play DK Fiends on one base, or is there any case where you suggest playing something else? Many maps, like, it's truly map dependent, but on most maps, I think inside spawn, like this map, you have inside spawn, or even on this map, this map inside spawn, this map even outside spawn. Undead should go for Lich Expo or DK Ghoul Expo or Dreadlord Expo. Inside spawn most of the time, it's on big maps especially. Not on this map. You can even go for Ghoul Expo on this map, but it's not easy. In Terrace, you should always go for Expo here. Very hard to creep, but also option of the expoing, but also super hard to creep. 100% expo with ghouls. So most of the maps actually I would recommend not playing DK Fiends, but rather going for expo with DK or Lich ghouls. This map can also expo, but it's not easy. Because you have ghouls against mass piercing attack push, which will come. On this map I like expoing with undead. This map I will expo inside spawn 100%. This map I will expo with undead on the, if I'm here or here. Even here I would expo. I would expo here, here, here. Even on this map expo, depending, unless my ally is human. Human should expo, or undead should expo, but if your ally is orc or undead, you should expo. And on Arador you should expo as well. So I think undead should be played expo most of the times. What are the synergies for Blade Master? Mountain King, I would say. Archmage Mountain King. So you have Blade Master with Hex. You mean Blade Master Raiders? You can go for Mass Griffins if you're human, because you can always go for Mass Bats instantly, which would counter any kind of anti-air of your opponent. So if I would be human, I would go for many Griffins many times, if my ally is going for Beastries. If you mean Blade Master Mirror Image level 3 creeping with Headhunters, if you're human, you want to play standard, like Archmage Casters. By the way, DK and Fiends should never expand, that's my opinion. Because Fiends are 40 wood, I think. Yeah, it's 40 wood for one Fiend. So you don't want to expand and playing Fiends at the same time, at the start at least. It's the same like playing Baller Rifleman. And expanding it doesn't work. You have no lumber for it. Or of course you have lumber at one time, but it's super inefficient because once you start tier 2, your opponent is already tier 3 almost with expo. Not that much, but this under this should not expand with DK Fiends, I think. It's just too wood intense. Blade Master, yeah. Right, I think I've answered all questions, and once again, thank you for tuning in, and that's it for now. That's it. Thank you guys, bye bye.